Okay, I'm here with Lilith. She's doing an event, a Medusa event in where is it? Is it Washington?
Yeah, so I'm in the Pacific Northwest in Washington. We're like 30 minutes outside of Portland.
Oh yeah, I love Seattle. It's so pretty. And we're going to talk a little bit about that event, a little bit about why she chose to do Medusa as the overarching theme. And then you have a bachelor's degree in herbalism, correct?
Yes.
And then you also grew up pagan.
hmm
Okay, I'm very curious about all of those things. So let's get started here. So why did you why did you choose Medusa? I know people who have seen movies and things see her as the snake monster that is more the villain than anything. But is she just misunderstood? Is she not wrote about properly? What's the backstory?
um, I don't know where to really start, I guess. Yeah, for a long time, Medusa has just been kind of portrayed as like this monster. I think we have like that really old version of Clash of the Titans where it's that like claymation and it's kind of
Yeah,
one of the first images a lot of people kind of remember of seeing Medusa. And then like when the Me Too movement hit, there was kind of a big uprising and use of iconography of Medusa. And last year's event, I chose to honor Persephone. And I don't want to sound like I like spoke to a burning bush in the woods or something, but
no,
it
that's
just
fine. You can talk to burning bushes. No
um
judgment here.
yeah, it's just I kind of kept seeing around me just little hints and images that were like reminding me of Medusa and was really kind of feeling that. I've always loved Medusa. Like I've already like creating the altar for this was so easy for me because I already have like statues and snake iconography and things. Um and no, I didn't know what that this year was going to be the year of the snake. Everybody had asked me and they're like, "Did you know?" I was like, "Oh, I guess not." So everything just kind of like falls into place, it seems like. And then just kind of with how things are going politically in the US, it's a very strong theme. A lot of people are really resonating with it. And so in this time, like I've spent the whole year researching out Medusa a whole bunch and trying to get to kind of the main, like the core story of Medusa. And so, because there's like a lot of different versions and
Yeah,
iterations. And it kind of plays a little bit into, like histories written by the conquerors.
yeah.
Um, and so what I'm seeing with Medusa and her story is she was an immortal Gorgon born of two sea gods, and she has two sisters that are immortal, and they're also Gorgons. And then there's a good novelization called Stone Blind that I recently read, and so it kind of takes it less out of this like myth and more of like seeing her as the actual character
Hmm.
and like her perception and how she views her sisters and because they raised her. And then again you have kind of the rape from Poseidon. And I liked how it didn't like gloss over it, but it didn't like focus on that point because a lot of people just kind of focus on that aspect of her story a lot. And I mean, I can see why.
Yeah.
Um, and then how she's slain by Perseus. And something I didn't realize or know going into this is that Perseus slayed her in her sleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so
That's much smarter. and trying to take her
Who's
on
outsmarter?
one-on-one.
I mean, yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's
it's bad, it's evil because
yeah.
she's a tragic character, right? But
Well, and like there's a lot of people that see Perseus as this great hero, but he also needed like a lot of help. And so like a lot of like he had help from Hades, he helped from Hermes, he even had help from Athena, like giving him the shoes and the helm and the sword, like all to help him slay Medusa. And so I just kind of thought that was interesting. And like Medusa is very much a story of like a survivor of sexual assault for
yeah.
most women. That's how most women will relate to her today. Um, and it's interesting kind of looking at this story in modern times and being a woman myself who unfortunately has experienced the cruelty of men.
Oh no. Yeah.
I won't get into that, don't worry.
No, no, yeah, that's fine.
But just kind of seeing like how today like a man will wrong a woman, and instead of taking her story at like for what it is, and supporting the people who are victims, there's kind of like more of a backing behind the abuser.
Yeah.
And so in the story of Medusa, you have Poseidon who raped Medusa, and then we send Perseus after Medusa to slay her, and he had all this help. And it's kind of like, I mean, you could pick any kind of publicized story of like some frat boy who was accused of assaulting all these women, and like all of his buddies around him like probably hazed and destroyed the reputation of those girls,
Yeah.
and it's kind of interesting how that just keeps happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
a really cool metaphor. Well, I don't know if "cool" is the right word, but it's a good metaphor for victim blaming. Wasn't
mhm.
she like turned to stone because, or not turned to stone? She was turned into the snake monster because she was raped in the Temple of Athena, and so like it was she defiled it, even though she didn't do anything, right? She's
Yeah, and
she's the one who
so
got raped to begin with.
yeah, that's again, that's another thing where I'm seeing two different versions of that story. So some versions are saying that Athena cursed Medusa with the Gorgon look and the snake hair, and then the Gorgon's gaze, which turns people to stone, as a punishment.
Uh,
Um, and then there's the other side where it's sought as like a way to protect herself. And I kind of like that version more of a way to
uh,
protect herself, um and like I personally related to that as well. I went through kind of like that phase where I didn't be super femme and be super pretty or what, and just kind of like made myself look and feel a little more intimidating to approach, I suppose.
I see. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so
yeah.
it's kind of a way of protection, and I think that is naturally, as women, I feel like that's probably more likely what the case was, just because that's something that we innately want to do, is we want to protect ourselves when bad
Yeah.
things happen to us. So
Yeah, you kind of retreat inwards and
yeah,
become the monster that they make you into or whatever, so you can
yeah,
defend yourself.
I
Yeah.
mean, if everybody's gonna like treat you that way, it's like, well, why not just fall into it?
Just be that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Roman mythology or Greek mythology. I took a college back in, or a college. I took a class back in high school.
Mhm.
That's about the extent, and I have studied a bit, but I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, a lot
Okay.
of these myths, do you feel like they're allegorical? Do you think like for example, that's who I'm dressed as is Ovid the poet who wrote it or whatever. But do you think it's kind of like he was trying to tell a story using mythology, or do you think it's like legend that was passed down? Like someone, someone went to sea and they claimed all these things and they came back and wrote it or whatever. Like, is a lot of Greek mythology. This makes me look really dumb, by the way, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is it more allegorical, or is it like fantastical tales, or do we not know, or do you not know? I don't know.
Um, so like some of the first renditions of like Greek mythologies that we have are Odysseus and or no, Iliad, right?
Oh, the
Yeah.
Iliad, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, I think there's a little embellishment
A
throughout
little
there.
bit of both, yeah. Like the
Yeah.
Battle of Troy, and because I was thinking, I was like, these are a lot of these stories are cooler than Marvel movies or whatever,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and I wonder if that was like their Marvel movies or whatever, telling around the fire. I know poetry was really common back in Roman times. They'd have a poet stand up there and tell a story in the amphitheater in the Colosseum or whatever, and so I just wonder. Um, what they were, if they were just like stories, or were they exaggerations, or a little bit of both. Probably a little bit of both, right?
I would say probably a little bit of both. I mean, I've studied like multiple mythologies, right? So like Viking, Egyptian, Greek, all of them, and they all kind of have similarities. And so I feel like yeah, I feel like they're just stories that kind of got embellished a little bit more and a little more. I mean, it's like think of when somebody tells you a story and then you like go home and tell your wife or whomever and then you embellish it a little bit in your own little personal way, but not too much so it's so far from the truth, but that just keeps going and going from there maybe.
It's like a 5,000 year game of telephone.
Yeah.
It just gets completely out of hand. Eventually there's like snake monsters and krakens and
Yeah. Well,
magic swords.
there's some iterations of Medusa that I'm finding that she also has like ringlets for hair, or maybe she had dreads and it wasn't actually
Oh,
snakes. So there's a lot of different images for her out there that I'm finding.
okay. So it probably is just a crazy game of telephone.
Probably.
They didn't have the internet back then, and so not that the internet's a good source of information anyway. So maybe that's a terrible example, but stories got diluted and changed as people traveled around. And
Hmm.
okay, all right. Well, I want to talk about herbalism now. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it a lot. So too bad for you, I guess. But uh, what inspired you to go into herbalism? Because I think that's really cool.
um so I actually had to think about this before we got onto here because I had to was like, why did I do this? So my grandfather, so I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and my grandfather used to take me out on hikes all the time. And he taught me how to identify so many different plants, like just
Oh,
all over. So now, like, we'll go out and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Oregon grape. Oh, that's Trillium. Oh, this is Delphinium, stuff like that. And so that was kind of what's first sparked it. Also, my parents doing environmental restoration. Um, and I always had like medicinal books, like herbal medicinal books on hand,
hmm.
like just in the RV with us, because my parents weren't the greatest at keeping the first aid kit super well stocked.
Cool. Well, I
That
mean,
whole
that's
like
not cool,
slap
but you
some
know what I
dirt
mean.
into it
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, but what really pushed me to seek out getting an actual degree was I was actually diagnosed with Lyme disease probably about 8 years ago.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, and so I started with like modern medicine and the amount of pills and everything that they had me on. I was feeling worse. Like I felt sick. I thought I was going to die just from taking 20 different medications in a day. It was awful. And so I had to wean myself off of all those and kind of do like a detox and a cleanse. And I found a naturopathic doctor and she just kind of started talking to me about like just herbal remedies. And then during COVID, because everybody was in lockdown, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like fully dive into this more and learn herbalism on a deeper level, not to like practice it or anything,
Mm,
but just so that I have a better understanding of the things that I'm taking in and what's going into my body, because that became, at that point it became more important for me. I mean, because like most all medicine at some point or another came from a plant or a root or
yeah.
something natural, and it just, taking a naturopathic way felt so much better and healthier for my body instead of like very harsh pharmaceuticals. So,
Oh, interesting. So you went more of a natural route with the Lyme's disease. Like
yes.
what uh what did you use?
Um
Do you remember?
Actually, one of the things that I most distinctly remember taking is I had to take wormwood because there was a lot of like, it's like a bacteria or kind of like a bug that gets into your blood system. So I had to take wormwood actually. So I was on wormwood for 2 days and then I had to be off of it for 3 days because, like, if you build up too much wormwood in your system, you'll start to hallucinate, which is like
Jeez.
where absinthe is like popular for that. So, although
Interesting.
modern absinthe, I don't think they use quite as strong of wormwood.
Is it synthetic? Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the modern psychotropics and things, they're just like, oh, let's just make it. Because yeah, I was my undergraduate work was in mushrooms, natural products chemistry.
Hmm.
And a lot of those mushrooms are really hard to grow, actually. You need just the right kind of salt spray and feces and rotting wood, and it is really hard to cultivate. And so, yeah, I was part of the Utah Mushroom Society, and we go out and collect them and stuff like that. Not necessarily the psychotropic ones, but I mean, yeah, some were psychotropic, but uh, yeah, and they'd have like a big cookout and everything. And but anyway, yeah, making that stuff is much easier than finding it in the forest
Yeah.
or whatever. So I guess if the apocalypse happens, I know who to call if I need to find some medicine in my
Yeah.
backyard or whatever. Do they teach you um, stuff like that, like foraging, like how to make, like I know dandelions are edible and stuff like that, but what's the? I'm really curious what they really teach you in these herbalism classes. Like, what's
Um,
the main theme?
I learned a lot about like the history of certain plants as to when they started using these certain herbs, kind of like the regions of where they came from too. And then on foraging, like sustainable foraging was a really big important one. So like not over harvesting things, only taking what you need, taking only portions of the plant so you don't kill the whole plant and it goes extinct or dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because trimming plants actually makes most of them grow, right? Rather
Hmm.
than ripping them out by the root.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. We talked a little bit before, so you know this, but my background's in pharmacology, and I'm really curious. I do think there's a lot of secrets out there hidden in the bushes, as far as different medicines and things. And yeah, like I said, I did natural products chemistry as well, where we would go into the forest and bring stuff back and break it down. And one of the mushrooms I found had a really potent cancer inhibitor, protein kinase C. Not that anybody cares, but it's really hard to synthesize and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could grow this stuff in mushrooms or whatever. Most stuff they do find from natural products, and then they splice it into a bacteria and just make the bacteria grow it and go from there. You know, insulin or a lot of these other drugs. But
Hmm.
you know, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is growing up pagan.
Okay.
Was it like a big thing, or was it just kind of a casual thing? What? How did it
Um,
influence your life?
in my like very early years, it was very big and a very large part of my life. Um, to kind of like take it back a little bit into my lore, as you would call it. My grandmother actually was one of the main first founders of one of the big Oregon pagan communities out here. And my dad had actually been training and learning from her, and he's also Lakota, so he was kind of taking
Oh,
his shaman walk sort of
cool.
training. And he needed to get his ritual garb because it came not like a graduation, but sort of like the pagan equivalent of a graduation. He needed ritual garb, and my grandmother was like, okay, well, here's where you need to go get your ritual garb. Like she'll do all custom, like whatever you want. Because like in our group and community, there wasn't like a specific ritual garb. It's like if you like the color green, then you got green robes. If you liked antelope, you got antelope embroidered on it. If pine cones were your thing, you had pine cone trim, stuff like that. And so my dad went and met this gal who was my mother and her daughter, my grandmother's daughter, obviously. um, and so they met and they just headed off. So my grandma likes to take credit for them meeting. And then at a fall equinox event, actually, they had a conception ceremony. This is like way more information than you were probably expecting.
No, I'm very curious. A conception ceremony?
Yes. So my
Uh,
parents had a conception ceremony that was actually blessed by my grandmother and the entire community. And so they conceived me, and I was intended to be born on the summer solstice. And the way that my grandmother always makes it out, like every year for my birthday, I always felt like I was supposed to be like some grandiose chosen one, but I was actually born like 2 days late. So
Oh, good going.
yeah. So that was like very, 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 very early. And then we always went to equinox and solstice events. My mother is a historical costumer, by the way. That's why she was kind of like our community's ritual seamstress.
She's a what? A gossamer, so she
A
sews?
historical costumer.
Oh, costumer. Oh, I thought you said
Yeah,
gossamer.
so
I was
like
like,
her
wow, that's
favorite
fancy.
era, her favorite era is like the Elizabethan era, which makes it a nightmare to watch movie like historical shows and movies with her because she'll be like, "Oh, those snaps weren't invented until the late 1800s," and it's like, "Mom, just watch the show."
She points out every
Yes.
anachronistic fiber on everybody's bodies.
Yeah, anytime a costumer in a show takes any sort of like creative liberties, she's just like gripping the seat with like her nails dug into the pillows and stuff.
She's like, that's all wrong. Everything's
Yeah.
wrong. Can you tell me? I'm not trying to be perverted here, but can you tell me about the conception ceremony? You don't have to if you don't want to, but
Um
like, is everybody like standing around?
it's just kind of like a big bonfire and just kind of a quick blessing. Um like speaking goodwill upon your
Oh, I
journey,
see. Okay.
stuff like that. And then they went away into their teepee.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it wasn't like super detailed. Like we didn't like have like a bunch of people watching or something like they do in the movies.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. No, I've got Mormon background, and I don't think the original Mormons did this, but no, they would have conception ceremonies in the temples, and people would like stand around and watch, like, you know.
Yeah.
But
Like there's cuz you think of like when people get married, there's like the bedding.
right,
And
yeah,
that's
really
actually
common.
yeah, and that's actually how canopy beds were invented is so that you could provide some bit of privacy for the couple to like
Ah,
close the curtains, but they would still be
interesting.
secure. And the whole reason for that was like you had to watch to make sure that it had actually happened, like proof of like consummation. That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone would have to go in and make sure that there was blood and all of that, like in the
Yeah.
Jewish tradition where they hang the bloody sheet from the flagpole. They're like, look at this, everybody. Pretty cool,
Ugh.
huh? Yeah, all that stuff's actually really fascinating to me because I'm getting less and less judgmental about that stuff. Obviously, that's a little weird, but I'm sure they had their reasons, right?
Like it
I'm not
makes
sure what it
sense,
was, but
but yeah,
you had
you
to
have to.
trust, but verify, I
Yeah.
guess. Can you tell me about some of these equinox and solstice festivals or events that you went to growing up? What were those like?
Yeah, so we had so like Spring Mysteries was a big one, and then there was Summer Star, which was huge, obviously because it was around the same time as my birthday. And that also kind of is what influenced me to do my own event. But it was just, we had a very large campsite out in the woods. It was probably a 4-day long event, so a very long weekend,
Wow.
and just a lot of bonfires, a lot of community. We used to roast a pig all every year on like this huge spigot that my dad has. There would be kind of a bit of a market. It would mostly be amongst our pagan community buying and selling between each other, but all of it was like handmade wares.
Cool.
Like mom would bring her costuming. One of my best friends, like her mom was into like pottery and ceramics, and so we used to have tons of cups and mugs and things made by them. There was a guy who used to hand carve wooden spoons, just everything. Like
It's like a druid, not druid, a pagan swap meet or something
kind of,
along those
yeah.
lines.
Like
Okay,
everybody just brought their homemade goods. You know, there was people who had salves and lotions and stuff that they made too. So
that's really cool. Would you do any like rituals, like a Burning Man type thing? Throw your doubts, your fears, your addictions into the
yeah,
fire, watch
yeah.
it burn. Was there any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I remember as a kid, one year we did actually celebrate like the year of the dragon. I remember because my mom had made the like a big long, not like a Chinese dragon, but similar. So all of us kids were like in the little dragon costume thing, and I have like pictures of me dancing around with some of the other kids under this giant dragon. We would do rituals. A lot of the people that were there were like dancers, like belly dancers. We had like a snake charmer dancer gal who would kind of bring out this big boa and dance around the snake. So,
That's really cool.
yeah.
Did are there are there what's a good word for it? Commandments, I guess, in your form of paganism, like thou shalt not. Any of those? Is there like a code basically is what I'm getting after? Not really.
Not really. Just like don't be a shitty person, but
Don't
I
be a
feel like
shitty
that's
person.
yeah.
Really common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up Mormon and what's funny is I see a lot of parallels
Mhm.
between uh, like that the pagan community you grew up in and the Mormon community I grew up in. Very close. They'd have really similar stuff where everybody would kind of get together and pray and obviously it's very Christian. But
Mhm.
um, do you feel that uh, that lack of structure was bad? How did your parents teach you to be a good person without the uh, the firm hand of God guiding you?
Um, cuz like everybody growing up, like when I went back into the real world, I guess, like yeah, everybody had these like scary stories of like, oh, if you don't be good, like you're gonna go to hell. And I was like, what is this? Like, no, like if I don't do something good, like one, I'm just gonna feel a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just uh yeah, I didn't have like I would just get in trouble. Like,
Okay.
"Oh, you're like in timeout now.
Okay. So they would just use common sense. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
strict. Okay.
Like it wasn't this absurd, like overlording, overpowering thing that was gonna come down and like strike you down sort of thing. It's
Okay.
just like, well, I'm really disappointed in you. And that right there from my
That was
dad was
enough.
like all it took. I was like,
All it
I'm so
took.
sorry.
That's worse than the fear of damnation.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I ask is I'm just curious because I've got some kids myself, and I'm trying to figure out what the best path for them. But no, Mormonism was a little strange, and I think they've gotten rid of a lot of these practices. Where, like,
Mm.
yeah, if you drank coffee, you'd have to go in front of the bishop, or if you they called it self abuse. I don't know if you can extrapolate what that means. It's like whenever I heard the word self abuse, I was like, they must be doing it wrong. But it's it's masturbation if you're
Oh.
wondering. But you'd have to go see the bishop, and you'd sit there in front of him, and he'd be like, "Oh, you can't take the sacrament, right?" They'd be like, "Oh, you sinner." Um, and sometimes they'd even like disfellowship you for stuff that for most people wasn't a
Wow.
big deal, but no, very strict. and uh and I think some of it was good, but I think some of it is like traumatizing, especially for a lot of people, and I know they're starting to shy away from it. But no, I'm fascinated by paganism and druidism. And I lived in Japan for a little while too, and I noticed they're not Christian either. Maybe you've noticed that
Mhm.
as well. But
Yeah.
and their kids are all amazing, and so we're well behaved and kind and all of that. And so I I'm just curious what the best path of raising children is. Do you need a healthy fear of God? I guess not, huh?
I don't think so. Well, and I think that's when you feel like you have to parent or teach anybody to fear something, that just already seems like such an unhealthy way about going through anything.
Yeah.
I just honestly, objectively, anytime I've ever looked at like monotheism and like Christianity and Catholic is like any of that, I'm like, what an insecure God.
Oh, it's like, oh, you have to worship me all the time. And
Yeah, like
yeah.
there's even like don't worship other gods. And it's like, well, if you're literally the one true God, then obviously you're insecure about the fact and acknowledge that there's other gods, right?
Right, right. I think that's how it started. Like,
Yeah.
I think Elohim was kind of like the god of war in
Mhm.
Judaism. And eventually they were just like, well, let's just worship that guy. And I think they were polytheistic more or less, and they acknowledged that, there was a Babylonian god, and
Mhm.
um, Midianite god, and all these other gods, but ours is the best god. And eventually they were just like, well, actually, it's the only god. It's not just the best god; he's the only god. They just like cut them all out. I guess it was
Yeah.
much easier that way. Um, what about so in paganism, in your paganism? Can I ask, is there like a branch of paganism that you grew up in and believe in, or is it just like general paganism?
It's just kind of to me it's always just been very general. Like very early on because when I was about 13, my parents' company started to grow and so we very much separated from our group. And I was very lost there for a while, actually. And I tried to find my path again, I guess. And so in that, I was like finding all these other different sectors, basically,
Mm.
of like Celtic paganism, Norse paganism, Druids, Wicca, all of it.
Yep.
Um, and actually, for a little while there, I kind of just landed in like the Buddhism realm, which I know isn't paganism, but depending on who you ask, like anything other than believing in
Yeah.
one
To the
God is
Christians, it's
pagan.
paganism. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I also actually, funny enough, the school that I went to was mostly Mormon kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so they would
Where
be
was
like,
this?
River Homelink is the school that I went to. It was like an alternative school because I was homeschooled partially, but then I
Oh,
had to
oh,
like,
yeah. I see. Yeah.
yeah.
Homeschool. Yeah. It's really popular. Mormonism. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, they would be like, "Well, what are you?" And if you said you were spiritual or if you were pagan, they would be like, "Well, you're going to hell." Like no questions asked. It was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." Like technically I'm a better person than you, not to say anything, but I've seen you literally cheat on your girlfriend like 5 times. How am
Right.
I going to hell for this?
Yeah.
And then I started just telling people like, "Yeah, I'm Buddhist." And they're like, "Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I get it." I'm like,
Like
"Okay.
Buddhism's fine, just
Yeah,
not
like that's fine. That's fine. You're not going to go to hell for being a Buddhist." Like, okay.
witchcraft or whatever. So,
Yeah.
what what's the theory on the afterlife in paganism, in your form of paganism? Is there an afterlife? Is it like reincarnation, like the Buddhism type thing, or do you just not think about it?
Um I like the idea of reincarnation. I'm also kind of just open to whatever happens.
Don't worry about it.
I just I think people get so obsessed with death in such a weird way that they don't know how to live.
Yeah, for sure.
Um yeah, this is funny because yesterday actually we were just talking about like keeping cremation ashes, and I just find that kind of weird to do.
You want to send it back into the ether?
Yeah, like just go back into the earth. I believe that, we are all our own individual energies, and if that comes back and is recycled, then that's great. If not, then cool, you get to sleep for a really long time.
You get to take a breather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which shit, I wish I could get a break from this world.
Get to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to hear my theory on
Yeah.
on life after death? My theory is that it's kind of a multiverse theory, but it's also the idea that if something happened once and time is infinite, then it can happen again, even if it's a 1 in 100 trillion chance, right?
Yeah.
And so um, I did happen once, so I know I exist, and I'm sitting here, and so the stars aligned, and the stars exploded in just the right pattern, and my parents met in just the right way, and so I exist, and if time is infinite, it's just going to keep happening. That's my opinion on it. So it may take a trillionth to the trillionth power,
Yeah.
but it's not reincarnation per se, because it's not like I'm coming back as a butterfly or a grub or something like that. But I'm coming back as me, and it's like a reset.
Yeah.
And because I'm not alive to tell the passage of time, to sense the passage of time, it's like I wake up again in the blink of an eye. Even
Okay.
if it took a trillionth to the trillionth time, if time is infinite, then it's just going to keep happening. You never get out of it. And in Mormonism, you become a god. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but eventually, anyway, and you start making planets and all that stuff. And I was thinking, I wonder when that would get boring. Uh, because you're like all knowing, all powerful for billions of years. I think eventually you'd be like, well, this is boring. And
Yeah.
so to me, I like my version of what happens after death, because it's like hitting the reset button. you don't know what happened in your past lives
Mm-hmm.
because you're so removed from it. But you get a fresh start every time. It's like playing the your favorite video game every time, but you never remember it, so it's fresh every time.
Okay, yeah.
That's my theory anyway. That's what keeps me from existential dread that I'm gonna die someday and fade into nothing. Yeah. So there's there's really no code of any kind in paganism, huh? Because most religions, would you consider paganism even a religion? What would you consider it?
Well, I feel like some have a code, but I think unfortunately for a lot of different sectors of paganism, with like the crusades, for example, I think a lot of those like structures kind of went away probably. And I also think that for a long time we've sat here and watched Christianity be a thing and look at ourselves and go, oh, well, like, in order for this to be a religion, it has to be like this, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when I get into these modern pagan witchcraft groups, um, I see a lot of people that sit there and say, well, this is how you're supposed to do it. This is how you're supposed to do it. And then you have
Yeah.
somebody else who's like, well, this is how you're supposed to do it. And it's like there's all these just different ways that you're supposed to do things. And
It's missing the point.
yeah, it's like it's not really about being in a structured system. It's
They're trying to mimic Christianity more or less
yeah,
with like churches and like archbishops and things like
exactly.
that, where you're like,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
the
well, you have to be this to be a high priestess, and you have to
I'm
do
the
this.
witch king or whatever. You got to listen to
Yeah,
me. I know what's going on. So it's more of like a personal thing to you, at least. It's
it
something that
is.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm because I like being very open about all things. I've got like very strong opinions about being called a witch. I've got a lot of history of just free thinking women in my family. And it's always just been, we don't follow a structure.
Yeah,
So,
kind of an outcast type thing.
yeah.
The witch in the woods.
Yeah. But yet people still gravitate towards that. So,
Yeah. 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 No, I think a lot about why Christianity did so well, and I mean, and why paganism didn't. And I don't know. I think, well, the Christians were really good at killing all the pagans, so that's most of it.
yes,
But
here.
I do feel that I wonder if paganism isn't, because they don't really teach you to have a lot of kids.
Hmm.
Christianity does that, and you know, having a very structured belief system where you can kind of control people and you're all kind of united in purpose and cause and that kind of stuff. I feel that that's much more powerful,
Hmm.
not in a good way necessarily, but it's much. And plus, if you're evangelist too, right? Like pagans aren't generally evangelical, are they? They don't proselyte. They don't try and convert people, more or less.
Not that I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's no witch missionaries knocking on your door trying to get you to read the Book of the Dead or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and I guess they don't care about that, right? They're not trying to convert the world.
No, and I've always just been a pretty solitary person. I mean, like community is important, but like the right community of people that aren't trying to sell you on something that's kind of hocus,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But so you don't necessarily think that your way is the right way for everyone. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
It's the right way for me, and
Right way
that's
for you. That's good
yeah,
enough for you.
I'm not going to try to sell somebody else on that. Like if somebody wants to ask me, and cuz like I have friends who are like, "Oh, I'm a baby witch." I'm like, "Okay, here's my books on herbalism.
Oh,
Here's some good books I know on feminism. Here's a great book on Greek belief system. Like, what do you want to know?"
yeah. So most of this podcast, when I've talked with people, I try and get behind the science of things, and
Yeah.
I realize that's a really bad idea, uh, because a lot of this stuff can't be proven. But speaking on herbalism and witchcraft and that kind of stuff, uh, do you feel that there's what how should I put this? Do you feel that there's some science behind witchcraft that needs to be explored more, or is it all in people's heads? What's your thoughts on it? Do you feel like because of Western Christianity or whatever, it's been stomped out, or do you think um, it's just a lot of it is all in your head? What do you think?
I mean, like a science behind like casting spells or
Right. Yeah.
okay. So I don't think that casting spells is really like a reasonable thing. I don't know how to like say it. Like there is power in intention, like um putting energy towards something like definitely helps you manifest stuff. When I go into like herbalism, a lot of how I use that is like tea, for example. Like
Yeah.
my stomach hurts, so I'll make a tea of ginger and peppermint and maybe some like mallow root just to kind of like settle my stomach, but I'm not sitting here like concocting some like crazy witch's brew, even though some people think that it is, like eye of newt or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But I'm I I think we have just, again, it kind of goes back into that like fear has been used a lot to deter people from things, and I think people just kind of leaned into that a little bit at some point of like, yeah, I'm totally just gonna put a spell on you and like shrink your head down and turn
Right.
you
Right.
into a frog,
Yeah.
just to like fight back for that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I actually finished it. This book called Rituals. I think I brought it up, but
Yeah, what's
it
that?
talked about spells quite a bit, and the he did a lot of research on it. I don't know how provable a lot of this stuff is,
Hmm.
but basically, what a spell does is it only works if you tell the person you curse them, because there's something called the nocebo effect. It's like the opposite of the placebo effect,
No.
where if you tell a person they're cursed, they start to believe it. And so it requires belief on both parties, I feel. So if the person believes that they can be cursed, then they start to, humans are really good at pattern recognition
Yeah.
and extrapolating things out of nothing or small things. It's like, oh man, my cat died, their curse did work, or something like that. And
Yeah.
so I do feel a lot of these curses, they did work, but they had to tell the person that
I can
because there
I can definitely see that
there
being
wasn't any science
the
back then
case.
to say that these curses didn't work. And if someone's a well-known witch and they put a curse on you, this book talks a lot about it, but basically it messes with heart rate, it messes with their
Wow.
anxiety, it messes with all these things, and so the curse would actually work, right? But the
Yeah.
person had to believe in it, more or less.
Hmm.
But it would be powerful enough, like if you could be convincing enough to 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 the person that you are a witch and that you can curse these people, it would work, right? So there is some science behind it. Basically, you're noceboing a person, turning them into
I
a
mean,
mess.
yeah, I feel like, I mean, because I kind of believe in karma as well. And I think people just also invite that in. Like if you feel like you've wronged somebody and then all of a sudden bad things are happening around you, I feel like you kind of like self prophesied that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I know statistical karma is a real thing, where you do enough bad, eventually bad comes back at you,
Hmm.
regardless. I think a lot of this stuff does have some science behind it, where people notice things. They're like, "Oh, that's a bad person," and now all these bad things are happening to them. I think it's just it's you reap what you sow, and a
Hmm.
lot of people want to put this fantastical stuff behind it, but I think a lot of it is just manipulation of human nature,
Hmm.
different spells and things, and yeah. But if for all those witches listening out there, if you do bless someone or curse someone, make sure to tell them, because then it'll start working in their mind, and it's a powerful force.
I don't
So.
think I've ever told somebody that I'm going to curse them before. I think I know I have known people who think that I have. In fact, my boyfriend has literally said this. He's like, "I'm
It's like
pretty sure you put a hex on me at some point." I'm like, "You did that to yourself. I didn't
yeah.
do it."
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just the energy of the witch is enough to
Yeah.
they don't even have to curse people, apparently. You just
Maybe I
have
am
to.
that powerful.
Maybe you are that powerful, right? Okay. I really enjoyed talking with you, Lilith. This has been really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering my million questions about paganism. I'm very curious. I've never talked to somebody who grew up in it. Most people that I've spoken with, it's something that came later. And so actually having parents that taught it and created a well-rounded individual, not to say that paganism wouldn't create well-rounded individuals. It's just I've never met anyone. So I didn't know what they would turn out like, but no, it's been
Yeah,
really great.
there's a few of us out there that, we're just little fey children running around as kids in the woods and learning all kinds of earth mother magic.
Yeah. I do feel like some form of spirituality or religion is necessary for
Oh, yeah.
kids. I think it's good. And I think it's who we are as people. And we always go back to that. There's always, during the Roman times here, there
Mhm.
was like an atheist movement. And not too long ago, there was an atheist movement. And apparently, is it Gen Z? I don't know. I get all these gens mixed up, but they're becoming more religious.
Ew.
And it
Why?
I tell you, you don't. It's human nature. You can't fight it. And my theory is it's an evolutionary trait. It's a gene, and I
Okay.
feel like those who weren't religious, those who weren't spiritual, their progeny got weeded out because they were outcasts. They didn't believe in the shared myth.
Okay.
Um, maybe they didn't believe in the god that would protect them from the tiger or something, so they had anxiety all the time or something like that.
Mhm.
um, this book actually does talk a little bit about that too. It talks about how if you knew that the person next to you in battle believed just as strongly as you did in whatever god or whatever, you knew that you could win and you were more likely to win. Whereas if the person next to you was like a non-believer, probably,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, this is all nonsense. I'm out of here." You weren't a united force, you know. And so the
Okay.
more religious tribes, whether it was the Christians or the Muslims or Old Testament Jews, they they're much more united, and they would just wipe out anybody who didn't believe in a god. And so because
Wow.
their tribe was so united that they just stomp you out, you know. And so I don't think it's going to go away ever. I think every time it's going to come back, because it's akin to eating and drinking and stuff like that. I think eventually it'll fade a bit, but people always swing back to it. And obviously it's anecdotal, but I feel like people are swinging back to it right now. I think there was a really strong atheist movement with like Hitchens and Dawkins and all those people, the neo-atheists and things like that. But
Mhm.
you don't really hear much about them or it anymore. And people are like, yeah, I'm spiritual, I'm religious. Maybe some of the old religions are fading, but the old religions, I think, are coming back, and there's new religions and things like that. But just something I've noticed.
Okay.
You're like, you're like, sure, that
Well,
sounds
no,
great.
so like something to add to that about like believing the same as who's next to you. I was dating a guy once who was in the military, and the way that his platoons were organized was by what they believed, like
By
what their,
faith? No
yeah, like
way.
they grouped them all together so that they would be like a stronger unit. And yeah,
That's hilarious, but not surprising at all. That's what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I think people realized that a long time ago,
Hmm.
that people who have the shared myth,
Hmm.
they're much more powerful than a bunch of intellectuals standing around being like, no, this is wrong. Like, no, this is right. Like, you just got to believe and rush in and start stabbing.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna win relative to the philosophers or whatever who don't believe it. But unfortunate, or maybe fortunate, I don't know, side effect of evolution, I
Yeah.
think. And so here we are. But for better or worse, we need it, I guess, in case the fanatic tribe next door doesn't come and wipe out all your free thinking.
Maybe it's me and my like how I've curated my socials, but like out here, I guess it seems like being pagan and all witchy stuff is like hot and trending, and it's almost obnoxious. Like it kind of annoys me, because like I was the kid that they threw rocks at, like in Practical Magic, where they're
Tried to
like,
stone
"Witch,
you.
witch, you're a witch." Yeah, like that was my childhood. Anytime I went
Yeah.
into like the real world and wasn't a part of the community, and now those same girls who like threw rocks at me back then are like, "Oh, I'm so like witchy with my moon water, and please join my Young Living pyramid scheme."
Hey, I live across the street from the Young Living headquarters. You can thank Utah for all of those.
Really?
Yeah, those nonsensical oils and supplements and things.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
hilarious. Yeah, they're
Is
like,
it
"Can I
true
get
that
tickets to your
he like
festival?"
went to prison or something?
They all end up going to prison at some
Oh,
point.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. I worked at a company called New Ways for a while, and yeah, he did some serious tax evasion, and he ended up going to prison. It's another MLM, but yeah, we just churn those things out, and just spread them everywhere. If there's an MLM, I think Amway wasn't started here, but pretty much every other one, like New Skin and Young
Your
Living,
state, man.
DoTerra, they're pretty much all a spawn of Utah. And it's probably because Joseph Smith, the founder, was actually big into herbalism. So you've got a lot in common with him,
Yeah.
besides the multiple wives.
I
But
could
other
still
than
get
that,
multiple wives too.
yeah, it's never too late. Yeah, you can start another Mormonism
Yeah.
in the woods. That's how he
Yeah.
started. He even called it a sacred grove. Kind of interesting.
It's funny because like when I started my event, so I call it Sisters of Lilith, and it started as a joke to call it that. But everybody's like, "No, that's such a cool name.
It
It's
is a
like you're
cool
starting
name.
a cult." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Well, maybe I am starting a cult." Just, your friendly neighborhood dark feminist cult leader over here. So,
Now people need a little bit of cultism. But yeah, it always ends up with somebody sleeping with everybody's wives. So you just
Mm.
got to watch out for you. Keep your wives away from Lilith
Yeah.
at these festivals.
Oh
All
man.
right. Well, like I said, this is really cool, and thanks again for humoring me about all the paganism stuff.
Yeah, of
Sorry,
course.
kids threw rocks at you, and now they want to be your friend. That's pretty funny, though. They're like, "Yeah, I read about this in the Bible. That's what we do with witches."
Yeah, the stone.
Just telling him, "There's one. She's right there. Let's get
Yep.
her." But is there okay? So yeah, your festival. When is it exactly?
It is June 21st. It's in Washougal, Washington. We're starting at noon, ending at about 6:30. I have an opening ceremony at 1. Then I do like kind of a midday speech where I kind of a little more eloquently present like Medusa as like the theme and why. And then I have closing ritual at the end.
Okay. Are there still tickets left?
Yes, I've sold
Okay.
probably about 50% of my tickets. And I do have a
Okay.
lot of acolytes tickets currently. So
Acolytes of Lilith.
yes. Well, so that's something new. I actually like just made a TikTok and I was like talking to myself in the front yard and everybody was like, "What are you doing?" Um
Casting spells.
so we wanted to cuz last year I did an opening ritual and I tried to involve some people with it, but I realized a lot of my friends aren't as well versed or experienced in being a part of ritual.
Hmm.
So like I held up my end well, and then everybody's like, I don't know what to do, even though they didn't even have like a speaking role. So we created acolytes tickets or like the acolytes upgrade. I have like masks that I've made that I hand painted and put snakes on to kind of like give that snake priestess sort of vibe. Um, and so it invites people to be a part of opening ceremony. You get to be in our progression. So I have some people that are going to have ceremonial drums to kind of set a beat. So you can either have some handbells or bring your own instrument or a drum and just kind of play along with the tune. And then we do a ceremonious like walking of our sacred space and then come up into the circle and then everybody gets in the circle and then I just stand at my ritual altar and welcome and embrace everybody into our space, talk about why we're here, talk about why we've all been drawn in, and start the day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like a forest sacrament type thing.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll put a link to that down below. I would like to
Cool.
go, but I don't think I can because I've got a bunch of kids that are very young. But do you do it every year?
I do. This is our 4th year actually
Fourth
doing
year.
this.
And how many people? How many tickets? How many people turn out normally?
I have about 500 people that show up. I've got probably almost 40 vendors that come. I do have
Holy
food
cow!
vendors. Yeah. I got food vendors. We've got workshops that happen throughout the day. A lot of them are kind of circulating around the theme of Medusa. A lot of them are kind of more about female empowerment and the divine feminine. Just all around good things.
Do you let dudes in, or is it a not a?
I
It's
do
a
actually.
dude free
I get
event.
yeah, I do let men in. I get asked that a lot if men are welcome, and of course, men are always welcome. Like that's the short answer to that question. The longer answer is like if you are bothered or disturbed or put off by women feeling empowered, then maybe this isn't the event for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I strongly urge and implore people to kind of check their internalized misogyny.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I have a full day of like performers, I have belly dancers and I'm very meticulous about the imagery that I put out there because I don't want just like like very objectifying imagery of my performers going out, because it's not just an event for guys to show up and ogle at beautiful women,
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Start pulling out 20s and throwing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want people to feel welcome. I want them to feel empowered, whether you're female, male, in touch with your feminine side, LGBTQ, BIPOC, whatever. Really,
Yeah.
just anybody who has felt suppressed and like they haven't had a voice in the past, to have a free, safe space. So,
Yeah. You don't want people killing the vibe.
no, I don't.
Yeah.
And on occasion, there are people that I'm just like, hey, can we keep an eye on this person? They're not
Sick the dogs
doing
on them.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool of you to let everybody in, though. So,
Mhm.
all right. Well, yeah. Thanks again. Is there anything I missed that you'd like to end on, or did we get it all?
I think we got it all.
All right. I think so too. Okay. Well, hey, thanks again. And yeah, if you want to check out Sisters of Lilith, the Medusa Festival, I'll put a link down below. And yeah, thank you again
Of course.
for joining me for the podcast.
Mhm.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.